The debt restructuring program is already benefiting one state-owned enterprise. Barbadian homeowners being urged to acquire house insurance. And First Caribbean International Bank revising expected losses as a result of the debt exchange exercise for the Barbados dollar.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
Good evening, I'm Shane Jones, leading the news at 7. The passage of Tropical Storm Kirk has revealed several deficiencies in the Barbados Water Authority's infrastructure. Minister of Energy and Water Resources Wilfred Abrams says the Bell Pumping Station, for example, which supplies a third of the island's water supply, has no sustainable backup mechanism in place in case of a power failure. Now, he was speaking during a recent seminar hosted by the Barbados Association of Professional Engineers. Mr. Abrams pointed out that the BWA is the largest consumer of electricity on the island, with a bill of $2.2 million monthly. The minister says government is embarking on a project which will see it moving away from its heavy reliance on fossil fuels and adopting a more diverse energy mix.
The project I was just speaking about will result in a paradigm shift that, one, makes the Barbadian society aware of the impacts of climate change threatening the island's drinking water supply. 2, creates resilience to severe weather events. 3, reduces greenhouse gas emissions. 4, reduces energy consumption. 5, promotes appropriate use of diverse water sources. And 6, informs the legislative agenda to support climate-smart development and water sector resilience.
Minister Abrams says there is an urgent need for the National Energy Task Force to finalize a mechanism which will allow for the continuous growth of renewable energy.
As a small island state which is strategically located as a gem of the Caribbean island chain, Barbados benefits from the abundance of sunshine, strong and measurable prevailing trade winds, and the forceful and predictable currents of the Atlantic Ocean. All of these stand as potential sources of energy for the generation of electricity. However, besides this, Barbados has also been blessed with an entrepreneurial class that is driven to help bring about a renewable energy revolution with the importation of electric vehicles, the installation and use of battery storage, the installation of PV rooftop and ground mount systems.
Now, with the recent surge in house fires, the Home Affairs Minister wants more Barbadians to invest in home insurance policy. In fact, Edmund Hinkson's comments came on the heels of several house fires over the course of this month.
We know that persons who have mortgages over their homes as security for a loan have to insure their homes as part of the mortgage contract. But the majority of other people in Barbados do not have insurance unless they're compelled to do so. And you know, the cost of insurance could be small. You might think that it is not worth it, or that you can't set aside the money, you know, annually, or you can pay every month in some cases a bit towards the premiums.
Mr. Hinkson wants citizens to embrace fire safety practices at home.
Have fire alarms, make all fire security issues a priority, avoid the need to have inflammable materials in your house that could help cause a fire or spread a fire, because it's not only your house that can be damaged or totally destroyed, it's your neighbors as well.
Government has started its program for restructuring the public service to reduce expenditure in its adjustment exercise. This from head of the civil service, Dr. Louis Woodruff. He says those affected are being given a package which includes an exit check for vacation leave, severance, and any other entitlements. Some categories of workers have already received packages in line with the enunciated procedures. These include security guards who were informed last Friday and given the package including their checks. Dr. Woodruff says the process for other departmental posts which are being affected will continue and should be completed by Wednesday. Some of the agencies in this phase include the Ministry of Transport, Works and Maintenance, and the Post Office Department. With respect to general service posts, the termination process started today and is also expected to be completed by Wednesday the 24th. Dr. Woodruff says the layoff process is one of the most challenging in any restructuring process. He says government is making every effort to ensure public officers are given the necessary support to assist them going forward. The Queen Elizabeth Hospital is already seeing the benefits of government's debt restructuring program. Now, that's according to chairman of the hospital's board, Juliette Bino-Sutherland. She says an estimated $38 million in equipment and supplies is needed in order to bring the hospital to its optimal level. As a result of the restructuring, the cash-strapped hospital has been relieved of a tremendous amount of financial burden.
Because essentially what the cabinet has done is really removed a long-term loan and debt that the hospital was carrying, long-term loan and debt that was carried by NIS and to NIS and to Barbados Revenue Authority. And as you remove that burden through the White Oaks and other arrangements, you're immediately freeing up hard cash flow that can be deployed to address the things that I started to talk about at the beginning of the discussion.
Now, those things Ms. Bino-Sutherland referred to include long wait times in accident and emergency, shortages of supplies, equipment failure, and long waiting lists for surgeries. The head of a local community organization is stressing the important role such entities must play as Barbados undertakes its homegrown IMF program. In fact, founder of the Nature Fund Ranch, Corey Lane, suggests the program's name should be changed to BSERT. That is the Barbados Social and Economic Recovery Transformation Program. Sharika Griffith explains.
Mr. Lane says as the country navigates these difficult economic times, Barbadians must get back to being their brother's keeper.
There are many who will fall through the cracks as persons are retrenched, as many adjustments are made within the society, from the very young to the pensioners, when we talk about the debt swap and so on. That will increase the burden upon the church. It will increase the burden upon civil society and service organizations like Rotary. The question is, are we ready? Are we willing and ready to fill those gaps and those breaches to make sure that our brothers and our sisters do not fall through the cracks?
Mr. Lane was speaking during a recent award ceremony hosted by the Rotary Club of Barbados. He says a 2006 study shows Barbados has over 1,000 registered charities, but change is needed as many do not report their finances or undertakings. The Nature Fund Ranch will be leading by example by publishing its accounts online.
We want to ask all the organizations, the non-profit and civil society organizations to follow suit. In terms of accountability, in terms of publishing your results. So if you have worked with X amount of children, if you have had Y amount of impact, that should be there for the world to know. Not just the funders, not just the potential funders, but for the public at large to understand that whether we donate or not to your cause, that at the end of the day, that you show us the results to inspire others.
During the ceremony, 3 stalwarts, Michael Young, Trevor Allen, and David Ward, were recognized for their contributions to the development of youth by coaching and mentoring them in various sporting disciplines. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Thanks, Sharika. Government's road rehabilitation program continued today along the ABC Highway from the Norman Niles to Clyde Walcott roundabout. But some motorists were forced to endure several lengthy delays, spanning in some cases almost 2 hours. In a notice today, the main contractor, C.O. Williams, has advised that all the major roadworks will now be carried out at night. The company says after consultation with the government, the milling and paving will be done between 7 in the evening and 6 in the morning. CBC spoke to many of the motorists who told us they disagreed with that stretch of the road being earmarked for repairs. Some even offered suggestions for other roads they believed needed urgent attention.
This morning it was absolutely crazy and it was really ridiculous in terms of traffic. Around 1 o'clock, I came up here and I had to divert and go down by Common Mare side because it was backed right up to the roundabout because there were 2 lanes but one going in either direction. So that was really horrible.
It is one that could be left alone. The major road that they should be fixing is the one leading here to Harrison's Cave, because right now that's what making the money. The road to Harrison's Cave want repairing bad. This ain't ready for no repairs.
It's a bit slow, you know, the process is slow. Otherwise, nothing we can do about it.
Good news, the Food and Rum Festival may be extended in the future. That's a word from the CEO of the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc., William Griffith. Here's Rianne Phillips.
BTMI CEO William Griffith says the Food and Rum Festival has effectively promoted Barbados as a destination.
It helps tremendously. There's a significant public relations element, there's a significant social media element, and we also drive visitors as well. So we think that the Food and Rum brand is here to stay, and the Food and Rum brand is also going to be extended year-round, possibly in the near future.
New venues were among the changes made for this year.
This particular Food and Rum Festival is very different for a couple of reasons. The first of all is that we are running for a full month as opposed to a couple of days. And secondly, we are going into the areas where you have rum shops, where you have an opportunity to sample street food. So we're using the food trucks, people who are grilling, people who are representing the authentic, genuine Barbados culinary experience.
And the inclusion of more local chefs and mixologists has pleased everyone involved.
It has been amazing every single year, and this is one of the better years thus far. I think next year is going to be the 10th anniversary. The good thing about this year, we have concentrated more on the local chefs, the local mixologists, and it has been amazing.
Before we would have had more international chefs coming in to the festival, but now I'm glad to see that local chefs, as a matter of fact, all chefs here tonight are local chefs. Yes, we do have international chefs at some of the various events, but tonight is just local chefs and they're doing a fantastic job, and I'm glad to see that.
The festival also included performances from several local artists. Rianne Phillips, CBC News.
Government continues to roll out its anti-violence campaign in secondary schools as it remains concerned over the increasing levels of violence among Barbadian youth. It was a turn of Harrison College today to join the initiative launched by the Ministry of Education, Technological and Vocational Training in conjunction with UNICEF. Entertainers Peter Ram, Mole, Faith and Philip Seven, who joined forces to produce the jingle for the campaign, were welcomed by the students who embraced the message. Senior Education Officer Janice Reed says the campaign seeks to highlight that violence is not the only way to go.
You are our country's future. I am seeing some prime ministers in here. I'm seeing some teachers. I'm seeing some education officers. I am seeing the future of Barbados in front of me. This campaign is one initiative to raise your awareness that violence solves nothing.
The UNICEF representative for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean says they remain concerned about child protection.
Violence is one of the issues we are facing all over the world, across the continent. The violence is happening in schools in terms of bullying, fighting.
The Peace Ambassadors also visited the St. George Secondary School later in the day. Acting Principal Major Andrew Skeet welcomed the student-based initiative.
Now we're being exposed to behaviors that, because of the advent of social media, they would not normally have been exposed to and kind of glamorized. And to have persons who they relate to come and perform to them, to basically let them know that there's a better way of dealing with some of the issues that they may be facing on a daily basis, and that is in a peaceful way. We believe is important and relevant at this time.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness, fresh off of launching Barbados Moves, now intends to push activities at the parish level targeting Barbadians. Barbados Moves forms part of Caribbean Moves, which is a regional campaign aimed at raising awareness of non-communicable diseases and ways to combat them. Minister of Health, Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostic, provided some insight into what will happen at the parish level.
So you can expect, for example, going forward, to have the St. Michael 5K walk, the St. Michael nature hike, the St. Michael 10K, the St. Michael fun ride, and then that is going to be repeated every month in a different parish, and at the end of it all, we'll have the national activities, and this is going to be a yearly cycle that we intend to follow.
Minister Bostic has given the thumbs up to programs in schools, the workplace, and the church promoting health and wellness.
And I'm really happy that some of our schools have already launched their own initiatives. I'm happy that the Barbados Workers Union has a wellness document, which they're going to be sharing with us shortly, so that we're taking it into the workplaces. And there are some churches who are already coming on board. Indeed, the Barbados Christian Council is launching an activity in terms of wellness, and they have already sought our assistance to get that activity going. So this is really what we are trying to do. We are trying to take these initiatives into areas where people would not normally go.
Small businesses on the island have been challenged to play a greater part in maintaining the health and wellness of Barbadians. Minister of Small Business, Entrepreneurship and Commerce, Dwight Sutherland, wants to see these businesses offering more healthy foods.
And indeed, I am one who will be interested in seeing how many of us will be running to the Ministry of to Fund Access, because it will be managed by the state-owned enterprise Fund Access. I will be keen to see how many of us will be running to that $10 million to start up healthy businesses, because we need to offer our young people and our elderly and everyone a more healthy lifestyle so that people can benefit from longevity